Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, I got about 10 minutes, maybe 13 minutes or so before I leave to catch the bus. I already purchased my ticket through the token transit. But I wanted to come on here and kind of, as quickly as I can, with a little bit of time that I have, kind of go over something that I typed up about a year ago. Now, of course, the way I typed it up was I spoke into the computer when I typed it up. Basically, the speech print and all that, a speech to text, if you will. Well, anyway, I redubbed what I did last year, or retitled it, 12 years later, looking back at the Mecha Sally arc, or nearly 12 years later, looking back at the Mecha Sally arc. And long story short, I used this to kind of point out, some of the missed opportunities that they had that could have helped save the story arc as best as they could. Like, first of all, this is what I said, and I quote. I'm going to go over this as quickly as I can and everything, but this is what I said, and I quote. It isn't hard to believe that it's been nearly a decade, or in this case 12 years, since the Mecha Sally arc began. And looking back on it, it's hard to believe all of the missed opportunities that they had with this story arc. I put his story arc, well, Ian Flynn was the one that wrote it, but I meant to say this. Continuing on, and I quote, "Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it didn't start out promising, because it did. I just feel that when they split the teams in two, with one team being Team Fighters, which consisted of Sonic, Amy, and Tails, who ended up being the team that followed the Death Egg Mark II to try and save and restore Sally to normal, with the other team being Team Freedom, staying behind to protect the kingdom. And this team, obviously didn't print it all out, apparently. But this team consisted of Rotor, Amy, Cream, and Nicole, and I think Heavy and Bomb. Now, continuing on, I stated, now what's funny is that when they split the team, what's funny is when this split of teams happened, that's when the story arc went downhill. Because when you look at how these two teams were presented, it seemed that Team Freedom was represented better than Team Fighters. Because with Team Fighters, it was the same thing almost every issue. Chase the Death Egg, fight a weaponized Mecha Sally, rinse and repeat. Well, on the Team Freedom part of things, they were getting more character development on what they were doing. Now, of course, you had another group of heroes that were kind of undercover, and that was the Secret Freedom Fighters, which consisted of Sally's brother Elias, two members of the Wolfpack Freedom Fighters, Lita and Lyco, Silver the Hedgehog, and an old school favorite, Larry the Lynx. And helping them behind the scenes was Harvey Hugh, Uncle Chuck, and Nicole herself, basically working with another team, but secretly. Now, some of you will question, what are the missed opportunities that I alluded to at the beginning? Well, let's take a look at them. First off, when Tails is fighting Sally, she gives him a chance to defeat her or help save a village. Now, Tails, of course, chooses to save the village. And if one thinks about it, if Sally was truly corrupted, truly gone, under Eggman's control, she would have attacked Tails as soon as he turned his back, but she didn't. Which, in my opinion, showed that she still had a little bit of free will left inside of her. The theory can also be followed up by the fact that when she is sent to go and kill her brother, that when she arrives at his hut and enters it, he's not there, but she can plainly see that he's escaped, and she looks out the window with almost a regrettable feel for what Eggman was programming her to do. Now, this is the missed opportunity I looked at. Because I point out that she could have easily gone after her brother, caught up with him, but she didn't, and that shows me she still had a bit of free will left inside of her. And here's the opportunity that I felt that they missed on, or Ian Flynn missed on. And I quote, "And this is a missed opportunity that they could have capitalized with Eggman wondering why she didn't go after her brother or attack Tails from behind, as soon as he turned his back on her to go help save the village. This is something from a story aspect that could have been really explored. I mean, if you're going to have Dr. Eggman be this huge threat that's always one step ahead, then you could have easily made him realize and acknowledge that Sally may still have a bit of free will remaining inside of her, and that he has to find a way to subdue it. In other words, when you look at the issue where Sally is sent to go after her brother, attack the village where her brother and his family is residing in, and instead of, attacking Tails as soon as she gives him the choice to save the village or fight her, and he chooses the village, and instead of attacking him from behind, she lets him go, and then instead of following up on her brother, catching up to him, she just lets him escape. That to me was a missed opportunity that's basically said, in my opinion, that she still had free will, and Ian Flynn could have easily, if he really wanted to make this story more intriguing and more interesting, even for people like me, could have easily capitalized on, but he didn't. He just kept going with the rinse and repeat. Now, continuing on, I continue on here with another missed opportunity, and that opportunity was not really explaining how Sally's unwilling betrayal caused Silver's future to become desolate, if you will, basically in ruins. All we got was Silver making a deal with Harvey Hugh to be part of the secret Freedom Fighters in exchange for helping him find out who the traitor among the original Freedom Fighters, was the cause, or ended up being the cause for his future going in, becoming a disaster or in ruins, as I originally put it. And I continue on here, and I quote myself. They do give you, okay, let me reread that. Okay. Continuing on, and I quote myself. They do give Silver a bit of reasoning for why Sally's betrayal caused his future to be so desolate. I agree that during the passing of hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, historical facts can be misinterpreted or lost in time, which could validate Silver's explanation to Sonic and company as to why Sally is looked at as the traitor that caused his future to be in ruins. But here's the biggest problem I have with this. Why didn't Silver stop and question how Sally's betrayal could have caused all the desolation in his future? Because as much as Sally's situation was impactful on all the other characters, wouldn't someone like Sonic betraying the Freedom Fighters and the world be more impactful? And when you think about it, even Silver could have figured that out. But again, like I said, this was another missed opportunity that could have been capitalized on. Now I point out another one, and that is another missed opportunity was Tails not confronting Shard, which was a reformatted Mecha Sonic. Tails not confronting Shard or Silver on the fact that he pretty much knew that Sally's brother, Elias, is leading a secret undercover team, if not a secret undercover operation. You could have had him acknowledge that, he knew what they were talking about to him and Sonic, and that he had an idea as to why they were part of the secret mission that the King's part of. Because when Shard and Silver separately showed up to aid Sonic, Amy, and Tails, and even Knuckles, they were wondering why he was there, and Tails pretty much was able to put two and two together. And yet there was an opportunity there that, Ian didn't capitalize on, that he could have, that would have made things more interesting. Now, continuing on, and I quote, "True, it may not have been a big of a deal, but it could have filled in several plot holes and gaps. And by not doing so, and having his teammates notice that he seems to know something they don't, kind of makes him a bit untrusting. Another problem I had with the story arc was the fact that even though we had a behind-the-scenes issue that caused several changes in the story and several characters to be removed, I still believe that subplots like Endangered Species, you could have kept some of the elements and scenes in there, even with the unfortunate removal of certain characters along the lines. But they didn't do that, and in my opinion, it could have helped the story in the long run. But speaking of Endangered Species, it's during this or towards the end of it, that they've came up with a solution that dates back all the way to issue 0. And that, of course, is the Krazood that was in issue 0, the original Sonic miniseries, as an answer to help Sally be restored. And in my honest opinion, I still stick by this, to me that shows desperation. And what I mean by desperation is the fact that you have to dig back into the archives to find a last-minute solution, because the original solution was taken out because of behind-the-scenes lawsuits. Again, you could have kept the original solution for Sally being restored in the story, even without certain characters being involved, but unfortunately they didn't do that. One thing a lot of fans know was a huge opportunity was going all out with Sally's situation. continuing, I mean, there are several fans that wrote or drew possible situations that could have helped make the story arc a little more intriguing. There's one picture where somebody basically made Sally become so corrupt, she ended up changing into a dragon-like creature like Ultimate Metal Sonic and Sonic Heroes. So overall, and I'll provide a link to the DeviantArt one for you guys to see, and I'm going to put this away as quickly as I can because I got to get going. But mainly my point is, and all that, is the opportunities that were missed there could have easily been, brought into the story without question, and they could have worked. They could have helped make the story a lot more intriguing and a lot more better, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments, as well as in the live chat during the premiere. I got to get myself ready to get out of here, guys, and I will talk to y'all later.